Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today, let's dive into episode 6 of Chief of War, a pivotal chapter that blends slow-burning tension with huge political and spiritual shifts in Hawaii. If the last couple of episodes seemed to pause the pace, this one makes it clear why. Every decision Kamehameha takes is a deliberate step that echoes across the islands, and episode 6 proves how fragile yet transformative those decisions can be.
With false hope, he will not join you.
Why does Iana think Kupuohi is making a mistake? This episode kicks off with a moral clash inside Kamehameha's circle. Kohala has been attacked, and while Kamehameha wants to believe his cousin Keoua isn't responsible, everyone else knows there's no other culprit. Iana, ever the realist, or cynic, depending on who you ask, advises that they prepare for war. Moku agrees, but Kamehameha's court isn't just made up of men anymore. Women, like Kahumanu and Kupule, bring their own voices of reason, and in many ways, their perspective is sharper. Kahumanu has become indispensable in Kohala's politics, proving that intellect and strategy aren't bound by gender. Kupuohi, too, embodies this strength. When she proposes going to Keoua herself to negotiate peace, she does so with the authority of someone who has never looked to men for answers. She knows her homeland of Keoua gives her leverage, and she has the courage to test it. But Iana sees it differently. His cynicism, sharpened by his time in Zamboanga with Europeans, makes him distrustful of peace talks. To him, Kupuohi's faith in Keoua is naive. He sees only destruction in the future, because that's all the Europeans have shown him. Even Keoua mocks Iana for his Europeanness, his trousers, his gun, his manners. But Iana isn't a European pet. He's haunted by what he's seen, terrified of the wreckage that follows in their wake. That paranoia seeps into everything he says and does, poisoning the very hope Kupuohi tries to bring into her talks with Keoua. In truth, Iana's skepticism isn't wrong. Keoua's obsession with war, with burning even his father's mahiole to prove himself the true king, shows that he was never going to accept peace. For him, everything begins and ends with the god of war. He doesn't care about unification. He wants Hawaii to bow at his feet. So while Kupuohi's frustration with Iana makes sense, his warning was tragically accurate. Has Kahekili gone mad? Across the water, Maui's Kahekili descends deeper in the madness. His son, Kupule, has always been uneasy about his father's bloodlust, but respect and fear kept him silent. Now, though, Kahekili has gone too far. Lima, ever pragmatic, suggests that Kupule must consider taking the kingdom from his father. It's not betrayal, Lima argues, but preservation. If Kahekili continues down this path, Maui will be remembered not for its greatness, but for the tyranny of its king. Kupule recoils. Humiliating his father, ending his reign on a sour note, feels unthinkable. But denial doesn't change reality. Kahekili has lost himself in his own twisted prophecy. When Kupule tries reasoning with him, Kahekili doesn't assure his son. He leads him to a gruesome sight. 2 Maui chiefs impaled, accused of conspiring against him. This isn't strategy. It's paranoia. It's cruelty. It's the unraveling of a king who once had greatness in his grasp. Kahekili has chosen what kind of ruler he wants to be remembered as. And Kupule is left with the impossible choice: loyalty to blood or loyalty to the kingdom. Will Kahekili betray Keoua? Meanwhile, Keoua's ambition burns hotter than ever. Unlike his father, Kalaniʻopu, who was organically admired, Keoua seeks admiration through fear. His rejection of Kupuohi's play for peace leaves him standing tall, but it also leaves him dangerously exposed. Even his mother sees the writing on the wall. Against Kamehameha's growing army, empowered by both the blessing of the war god and the Europeans' firearms, Keoua doesn't stand a chance. So she proposes a desperate move, an alliance with Kahekili. For Keoua, this feels like destiny. An enemy of his enemy is an ally, right? Kahekili, for his part, is thrilled at the thought of exploiting cracks in Kamehameha's kingdom. Keoua offers allegiance in exchange for men, hoping to crush Kamehameha once and for all. But here's the trap. Kahekili has no intention of sharing power. He dispatches his most unhinged warrior, Opunoi, to lead the army. Opunoi's values mirror Kahekili's bloodlust. His unspoken mission is clear. Fight Kamehameha and then gut Keoua when the dust settles. Keoua's hubris blinds him. He thinks Kahekili needs him. The truth is, he's disposable. Kahekili will discard him the second he's no longer useful. By turning against Kamehameha, Keoua may have just signed his own death warrant.
You trust him?
I trust he will do what is right.
Kamehameha's gamble, the law of the splintered wood. While enemies plot against him, Kamehameha makes a groundbreaking move of his own. He introduces the law of the splintered wood. This law is revolutionary. By setting it in motion, Kamehameha frees both commoners and royals from the fear of harm and death. Violence, once a constant threat, is outlawed under his rule. This isn't just policy, it's philosophy. Kamehameha is telling his people and the rival kingdoms that his rule will be defined not by fear, but by peace. By making violence punishable, he's rejecting the blood-soaked traditions of his rivals and laying the foundation for a new Hawai. It's a gamble. In a world where warriors measure their worth by conquest, choosing peace could be seen as weakness, but Kamehameha knows better. True strength isn't in slaughter. It's in building a kingdom where his people can live without fear. This law isn't just for Hawai. It's a message to Keoua, to Kahekili, and even to the Europeans arriving on their shores. Kamehameha will not be ruled by violence, nor will his people.
We'll seek it.
There's no hope in peace.
Kaina's role in the storm ahead. The tension with Kaina lingers throughout episode 6. His paranoia about Europeans and his push for war clash with Kamehameha's vision for peace. Yet, Kamehameha doesn't dismiss him. Despite his cynicism, Kaina has seen what others haven't, the true face of the pale skin. That experience makes him invaluable, especially when the ending of episode 6 delivers a chilling twist. The ending explained. Captain Metcalfe's arrival. A ship appears on the Hawaiian coast carrying Captain Metcalfe. He isn't here for trade or diplomacy. He represents the looming shadow of colonization. His goal is control. This is the moment Kaina feared, the nightmare that shaped his paranoia. He's the only one who truly understands what Metcalfe's arrival means. And suddenly, all his cynicism, all his warnings, gain new weight. Kamehameha may have introduced peace through the Splintered Wood law, but peace within Hawaii won't shield them from foreign greed. The Europeans don't care about Hawaiian laws, they care about power. In this moment, Kaina becomes indispensable. Only he knows how the Europeans think, how they fight, and how they manipulate. For all his flaws, he may be the only man capable of helping Kamehameha shield Hawaii from a new terrifying threat. What episode 6 really means. Episode 6 is less about battles and more about positioning. Every character makes choices that will shape Hawaii's fate. Kupuohi dares to hope for peace, but learns the futility of appealing to Keheua's reason. Kaina shows his paranoia, but episode 6 proves that paranoia may be wisdom in disguise. Kahekili spirals into paranoia and cruelty, endangering both his legacy and his son's loyalty. Keoua seals his fate on Kahekili, not realizing he's being played. Kamehameha solidifies his rule, not through fear, but through law, establishing a foundation for a new kind of leadership. And then there's Captain Metcalfe, the harbinger of colonization, whose arrival threatens to undo everything Hawaii's chiefs have fought for. Why episode 6 feels slow, and why that matters. The slower pacing isn't filler, it's strategy. Chief of War isn't rushing from battle to battle. It's forcing us to sit with choices, with betrayals, with the weight of tradition clashing against a future that's still being written. Kamehameha knows the stakes aren't just about land or power. They're about the soul of Hawaii itself. Every delay, every council debate, and every whispered argument about peace versus war tells us one thing. Ruling Hawaii is about making the right decision again and again, even when the odds are stacked against you. Our nerdy thoughts. Chief of War Episode 6 may not be drenched in bloodshed, but it's one of the most important episodes yet. It redefines the stakes. Hawaii is no longer just fighting internal wars of unification. It's standing on the edge of foreign domination. Kamehameha's vision for peace is bold, revolutionary, and deeply human. But with Kahekili sharpening his knives, Keoua sealing his fate, and Europeans arriving with their own agendas, the real battle for Hawaii's soul is only just beginning.
Iana will help us.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.